Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So page number 219.
216, Bhante. 216.
16. Page number 216. Did we take time to, were you able to go back, revisit and review what we did last time? I do remember that it was a little bit tough at once. What were your thoughts?
We have to do this table. We did only the, off the table, we did the two first ones.
Okay.
The first 3 roots.
Yes, no, what I am asking is when you revisited the previous lesson, which we did last week, do you have any questions, or would you like to sort of, what would you like to sort of, if you think that we should go through a certain part of it, I am very happy to do so. Noeline?
Yeah, Bhante, can we go through it quickly, please?
Yes, we can. Which part, Noeline?
General, the whole thing. Sorry, Bhante.
All of it, okay.
Just quickly, you know, we studied it.
Which part in specific, if you just tell me where to start, where you were having, or you felt, I know that you guys discussed, so which areas when you discussed, did you find it a little bit difficult?
Is that Reverend Dhammarakkhita Thera's view?
Okay, okay, yes. Page number, anyone else? Padma, Hemmali?
Yeah, maybe the chart again. I mean, I think I have got the general idea, but maybe just check that it's correct. The 5.5.
Oh, 5.5.
Okay. 5.5, yeah, please.
5.5. I think Venerable Dhammarakkhita's view was a little bit before 5.5, was it?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yes, this alternative view.
The alternative.
Page 215.
215. Okay.
215.
Yes, the alternative view. Yeah. How about Chamari? Lucky?
Yes, Bhante, I want to clarify one point, please.
Yes, please.
You want to do it now or later? Or?
Let's do it now.
Okay. In the table 5.4, yeah?
Yes.
Under 12 unwholesome, the fine material sphere, the planes, realms of existence, we worked out 15 last time. And I just want to clarify that the 15 is made out of 3, first jhana 3, second jhana, second and third jhana again another 3 combined, another 3, and then fourth jhana another 3, and then the fifth jhana 6. Is that right?
Just one moment, Lucky. Can you repeat the question, Lucky?
Yeah. In the fine material sphere, I mean, on the second column as well as second, the third column, and even on the fourth, not column, the row.
The row. Okay.
Yeah, the rows. Yes. Fine material sphere, the realms of existence. We worked out as 15 last time. I just want to clarify that the 15 is counted as 3 from the first jhana, and second and third jhana combined is again another 3. and then fourth jhana, another 3, that's 9, and then 6 from the 5th jhana. Is that right?
7 from the 6th one.
No, 2 are combined, isn't it?
Two are combined.
Yeah.
That is correct, Lucky.
Yeah,
That-
because this 2nd and 3rd are combined together to make it 3, isn't it? It's not 6, it's 3.
Yes,
2nd and
three.
3rd. Okay.
Yes, there have been 2 that have been combined in
Yeah.
this section, 5.4, in table 5.4.
And the
Yeah.
last one is 7.
6. Last one is 6.
Oh, last one is 6. Yeah.
Last one is 6. Here, let me just get that up. If you see in this, the 31 realms of existence, now Lucky, you can look on the chart, the 5.4, isn't it? This,
Yeah.
right, 5.4, right? I can't put both of them together. I can if I put it on the Mac, but okay. So we have the first jhana. The first jhana we have Mahabrahma, Brahma's ministers, Brahma's retinue. Correct? Check your books. Right? Second,
That's correct, Bhante.
right. So second jhana, we have the radiant Lashra, infinite and minor Lashra. Correct?
Yes. Yes.
That's correct.
Then we have third jhana, steady, infinite and minor auras.
That's correct. 3 of them. Correct, Bhante.
No, but if you look at, if you look at table 5.1, it got 2nd and 3rd jhana combined as radiant luster, infinite luster, and minor luster. The both are combined together, 2nd and 3rd jhana,
Okay.
in table 5.1.
Point.
Not 5, there's no 5.2.
What is the page, Lucky?
186.
186. Okay. There you go. Okay. Here we have it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have then gone according to this table, isn't it? Thank you, Lucky. This makes it much more easier for everyone then. It makes it much more easier for everyone. So this seems to be then the table that they have gone for, right? If the first jhana, Mahabrahma, Brahma's ministers, Brahma's retinue, and then the second and the third, they've combined it together, right? Second and the third, they have combined it together. Okay. And then the fourth jhana plane, steady aura, infinite aura, and minor aura. And then the fifth jhana, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. But you said 2 are combined, isn't it?
Yes, the 2 that are here, according to this. Did someone have to say anything? Okay. According to this chart, the pure abodes were seen to be combined together. If we look at this 31 planes of existence, right? And here now we have 15, right? Do we get the 15 out of this if we count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Here the pure abodes again, which is these 2, the 27 and the 26,
combined.
are combined together.
Right.
Right? Which makes it 6 here. According to, if we go through that in this chart, which is 5.4. In 5.4, the 2 pure abodes, which we have at the end, have been combined in this calculation here, which gives us 15. Is it understood? No. Again, going back to this chart, 186.
186.
Okay.
Mhm.
The second and third jhanas are together, right? Here, the 26 and 27 in the fifth jhana plane,
Yeah.
right? 26.
6 and 27 together.
23 to 27, 23.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Bhante, in page 186. Now that's 27, that's correct. But when you count them from 12 onwards, there are 16 there. So where have they combined it? In page 186, there's 1, 2, 3, which is the same thing. That's 12, 13, 14, because 11th one is that Paranimata Vasavati.
Hold on. What page are you on?
186, the one that Lucky is referring to.
186, yes.
Or what you're referring to. So this is just like in our other books that we have. 12, 13, 14 is after the Deva's last one, which is Parinimita Vasavati, which we know is 11. So that's correct. 12, 13, 14 is 1, 2, 3 of the, there are 16 Brahmaris, 1, 2, 3. So the minor luster, the infinite and radiant luster, so that becomes 15, 16, 17. So that's 6 there. Then the next one, 4 jhana becomes minor, and so there's another 3 there. So when you count that, that's 9. Now the only difference is that normally the others will be counted and the 5 Suddhavasas will be separate, but they have put them in that 5th jhana plane altogether. But there are 16 altogether from 12 to 27. It is 16 there in that chart. It's not 15. Count it and sit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you get the 16 Brahma planes in that chart 186.
Okay. Okay, Padma.
I think 26 and 27 have been combined as one. That's what has happened. That's what we discussed.
Yeah, 26 and 27 has been combined.
Combined in the other chart.
Yeah.
Clear-sighted abode and highest pure abode has been combined in the other chart, thus giving
50.
6. Let's check in
That's-
Narada's book.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah.
Anyone else with their conspiracy theories?
Bhante,
Yes, Tamare.
can you, do you have any idea why they have combined them together?
I don't know, Chamari, but I
Okay.
will find out.
Okay.
To ask someone, a friend, to find out why they have combined it. And then I will let you guys know.
Great, thanks.
Right? Which chapter is this, please? Chapter 4.
Chapter 5. Chapter 5.
Vimukti Sangha.
Table 5.4 and 5.
I'm just going to check Venerable Narada Thero's book to make sure that it is not a typo. Analysis of matter. Here. Okay. What is the Gatha? Anyone else has any questions up until I dig through?
I think the only difference is these two charts are two different bases. One is for the sphere of existence. Other one is for the resultant karma that influence the entry into those spheres.
Yes.
So because of that,
That's right.
there's in particular one, the requirement on resultant entry into 2 comes under single requirement or single resultant or the.
Okay. Let me Okay, let's leave that for now, right? I'm going to check with someone as well and then come back to you about why, if there is a specific, a definite answer we have to why it has been combined. This book. Let me go through that and come back to you. Okay. Any other questions? Right. So 5 material sphere, we know, right, with all the 5 material spheres that we have, which are remarked as 15, are so because the 2 pure abodes in the 5th jhana, 26 and 27, have been combined. Okay. The reason, a proper reason for that combination, I will let you know in the next session. Okay. Someone please remind me also if I forget. Mala, can you send me a text message, please, after the class, if possible? All right. So what shall we go? Do you want to go through 5.4 again? Or shall we start with alternative view? What would you prefer, everyone? Alternative view, hands up. Yeah, alternative view. Mali, Dil, Devika.
Okay.
Okay, alternative view. You don't want the headache of going to the chart, isn't it?
No. Confused.
I know you guys a bit.
A lot confused.
Right. Let's go to alternative view. Okay. Some teachers say that unprompted states of consciousness do not produce prompted resultants and prompted states of consciousness.
Page 215. 215.
215. Some teachers say that unprompted states of consciousness do not produce prompted resultants, and prompted states of consciousness do not produce unprompted resultants. According to them, as stated above, the arising of resultant should be set forth in due order as 12, 10, or and 8. Guide to para 30, some teachers say. The view on resultants stated, so is that clear? Unprompted consciousnesses do not give rise to prompted resultants. Prompted resultants do not give rise to those which are unprompted. I hope you remember the meaning of what it means when we refer to a prompted and an unprompted state. But to quickly remind ourselves, if we say that a person has a prompted consciousness, this can be because of instigation from an external person. For example, my mother tells me to do this or that. That is prompted. Or after deliberation. Right? After deliberation. Right? Okay. So then that is clear what unprompted is, isn't it? Okay. Some teachers say the view on resultant stated in para 29 was advanced by the ancient master Triptaka Chulanaga Thera and is a prevalent opinion among teachers of the Abhidhamma. In para 30, the author states an alternative view held by teachers of the school of Dhammarakkhita Thera and Abhidhamma master in the ancient Moravapi monastery in Sri Lanka, right? In Sri Lanka. Let's go to para 29. Superior wholesome karma, page 214. Just to remind ourselves about what the other view is, the original view, right? Or I shouldn't say original, but the, other view. The superior wholesome karma. Let's read from the para above. but wholesome karma of an inferior grade accompanied by 2 roots produce rebirth linking without roots and give effect to rootless resultants during the course of existence. Right?
Bhante, where are you reading? Page 214?
214. 214. Let's read from para 29. Right?
Is it wholesome
Results
results 29?
and the roots.
So you're reading from guide to 29 at the bottom, is it? Or in the middle?
No, resultants.
Result.
Oh.
I'm going to the top again now. Right?
Ah,
I'm going to the top. Therein.
okay.
Right? Let's start from therein.
Thank you, Bhante.
Therein, superior wholesome karma accompanied by 3 roots. Superior wholesome karma accompanied by 3 roots produces rebirth linking similarly accompanied by 3 roots. And during the course of existence, it gives effect to 16 kinds of resultants. And during the course of existence, it gives rise to 16 kinds of resultants. So, superior wholesome karma, we know that sometimes we can perform something which is 3-rooted, but there's a superior and a weaker result, right? Pranita and Omaka karmas. When a superior wholesome karma is done by 3 roots, so the highest of the wholesome, produces rebirth linking similarly accompanied by 3 roots. That we know, right? That we know. And during the course of existence, it gives effect to 16 kinds of resultant. Wholesome karma of an inferior grade accompanied by 3 roots, and that of a superior grade accompanied by 2 roots produces rebirth linking with two roots and gives effects to 12 kinds of resultants, excluding those with 3 roots during the course of existence. Again, right? A lot of roots there, isn't it? A lot of roots there. Wholesome karma. So the first para, when you do a superior wholesome karma with 3 roots, it produces rebirth linking of a similar grade. And during the course of existence, it can give rise in 16 ways. Understood?
Yes.
Right? How? Wholesome karma of an inferior grade. So wholesome karma, meaning here it says wholesome karma of an inferior grade accompanied by 3 roots. So a superior karma during patisandhi gives rise to a patisandhi of a similar grade. During the course of life, wholesome karma of an inferior grade. Inferior grade accompanied by 3 roots, and that of a superior grade accompanied by 2 roots produces rebirth with 2 roots and gives effects to 12 kinds of resultants, excluding those with 3 roots during the course of existence. So when a karma is performed initially of a low grade wholesome karma with 3 roots, this gives rise, and that of a superior grade accompanied by 2 roots. So a wholesome karma with 3 roots, I'm sorry, an inferior grade wholesome karma with 3 roots, and a superior grade wholesome karma with 2 roots, right? With 2 roots, produces rebirth linking with 2 roots. Why? Lady Sayadaw calls it basically karma niyama, right? This is we came through a similar situation when we discussed the arising of the Sampadichana Chitta with regards to a lower wholesome karma as a resultant of a low wholesome karma of the Sobana. Remember? We went through this. Confused. When, okay, don't worry. At the moment, no, we will come into it. Forget that I said that. We'll be coming to it again. We'll discuss it that. So then, inferior grade, 3-rooted, superior grade, 2-rooted, gives rise to a 2-rooted patisandhi. A superior grade accompanied by 2 roots produces rebirth linking with 2 roots. And that can give rise or gives effect to 12 kinds of resultants, excluding those with 3 roots. Why? Because these are weaker compared to that superior 3-root. Okay. Now, for example, if you are to take a, what can be an example? When we discussed, okay, this is like when something is at its peak, it can't reach the peak again. From there, it can only go down. Right? This is something similar to that. Right? This is something similar to that. The peak of its level is, for example, with regards to this one, inferior grade wholesome, right? Or the 2-rooted superior, the peak of this class is that inferior grade wholesome. But still, because it's already inferior, we are talking about the strength of a particular consciousness. So that is the reason that when it starts giving rise, it cannot come back to that peak again, right? Because it doesn't have that support backing it. Do you understand? It doesn't have that support to allow it to reach that state again, and gives effect to 12 kinds of resultants, excluding those with 3 roots during the course of existence. It can give rise to 12 kinds of resultants, except resultants with 3 roots. Okay? But wholesome karma of an inferior grade accompanied by 2 roots produces rebirth linking without roots and gives effect to rootless resultants during the course of existence. What does that mean? Now, when you are thinking about the roots, think about the story behind these consciousnesses, please. What can you do, or what is the potential within these consciousnesses? But wholesome karma of an inferior grade, accompanied by 2 roots, produces rebirth linking without roots, which is clearly a sad situation, right? And gives effect to rootless resultants during the course of existence. What do rootless resultants then mean? That it produces the energy which fuels the pancha, the 5 senses. That energy is produced through weak kusala karma with 2 roots. Do you understand? Now, remember when I told you when we started, not this chapter, I think an earlier chapter when we were discussing karma, or maybe it was in the sutras. No, it was in Abhidhamma. I told you we were doing Chitta Bhiti. In the Chittaviti chapter, when we were speaking about Javana, we spoke about how one Javana, which creates, Javanas create karmas, isn't it? But it is not one karma that is produced. It has the ability to develop, to cultivate, to produce, to produce so many karmas. And what we are going through now is what kind of karmas can these javanas produce? Do you understand? Hemamali? Yes? What kind of karmas can then these javanas produce dependent upon the consciousness which is being processed? Right? Damsi?
Yeah. Now, what you say is, now when you are doing a good act, right, wholesome act, and then you can actually create, on that act you can create wholesome, superior chittas, and you can produce inferior wholesome chittas on the same act.
Wholesome superior.
Yeah, wholesome superior also, and wholesome inferior also. Or you can say three-rooted superior and three-rooted, two-rooted, three-rooted inferior.
Yeah.
On the same act, because you can actually produce multiple wholesome deeds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. One action.
Yeah.
During the time of processing.
Yeah.
You know, how I remember, for example, from the motion of me lifting my hand, now the governing purpose might be, okay, I'm trying to pick something up, right? But during that process, it might be governed by the intention, the volition of picking something up. However, this process of picking something up or putting something down is built or made possible through many, maybe we can also say insignificant processes coming together to fulfill this main purpose or main purpose. Each one of those conditions produces karma because they work, or it is energy that fuels that process. Example, just like every moment the earth's molten core, the maintaining of the heat in each and every moment is absolutely imperative to life on the surface. But we look at it in a gross view, a way to say that the earth's core is molten, core is hot, and this produces the gravity and all of that. But it is a collection of all those individual processes happening that allows the molten core to be the molten core. Each of those processes are imperative to the result, which is the earth's core being molten hot, which gives the result of gravity and all of these things, and which allows life on the planet. Likewise, in the chitta process, all of these processes are energy. We see the end result, but the end result is brought by those energies. Those energies produce new energies that give rise. That is the specific part that we are studying now. Do you understand? What do those individual energies, or what can rather those individual energies do for us during the time of Patisandhi, during the time of existence? Is that clear, Noeline?
Yes, Bhante, thank you.
Okay. Let's go ahead. Superior wholesome karma. Wholesome karma is distinguished by way of its capacity. Wholesome karma is distinguished by way of its capacity to produce results into two grades: the superior and the inferior. Understood? Wholesome karma is distinguished by its capacity to produce results in two grades: wholesome and inferior. Superior and inferior. The superior grade, ukkhata, of the wholesome karma is that done with a mind that has been well cleansed of the defilements. Right? Is well cleansed of the defilements. Remember, as I usually like to state, and other monks also do, with defilements, it holds your mind down. Right? It drags your mind down. Whatever accomplishments one has made, one feels that these accomplishments might be inferior or not much, or whatever confidence or whatever wholesome one does, it drags everything down. Right? This is the same element which is displayed here. Right? Same element which is displayed here of wholesome karma is that done with a mind that has been well cleansed of the defilements and is attended with good causes before and after the commission of the deed. Before and after the commission of the deed. Right? For example, giving alms to the virtuous with wealth righteously obtained, while rejoicing before and after the act of giving. Why righteously obtained? Because the guilt weakens the karma. The guilt weakens the karma. Right? While rejoicing before and after the giving of the act. The inferior grade, omaka, is that done with a mind that before and after the performance of the wholesome deed is tainted by such defiled states as self-exaltation, disparagement of others, and subsequent regret. Right? If you remember, of course, I mean, my Parami talk was, it was very heavy. Because there was so much of data, but maybe one day we can do a very slower analysis with these resources. But I actually had 50. I had those notes. I had 58 pages of notes for the talk, and I only got through 13. At the end, I was rushing. That is just typically me, just typically me. So, but maybe we can go through. But if you remember certain points that I made regarding, for example, the giving of dana, the Buddha is quite specific, very specific on the purity which must be maintained in consciousness through actions, which allow for now the action to become a parami. Why is this? It's the same as what is mentioned here. So that it is not tainted, and you reduce the risk of it being tainted. Right? You reduce the risk of it being tainted. Now, rebirth linking, accompanied by 3 roots, etc. This occurs by way of the 4 grade resultants, accompanied by knowledge. The 16 resultants that arise, again, rebirth linking, accompanied by 3 roots. This occurs by way of the 4 great resultants accompanied by knowledge. 16 resultants that arise in the course of existence are the 8 that are rootless and the 8 great resultants. The 8 that are rootless what? Wholesome rootless. Has to be,
Yeah.
Right? Wholesome rootless 8. Wholesome rootless 8 and the 8 great resultants. Understood?
Yeah.
Right? 12 kinds of resultants, excluding the 4 great resultants accompanied by knowledge, right? Excluding the 4 great resultants accompanied by knowledge. Is that clear? Right? Can we calculate? Can we minus, just for clarity? How did the 12 come? Can someone calculate for me in detail? Chamari?
The 8 wholesome rootless.
Okay, let's focus,
Chittas.
everyone.
Sorry?
Yes. Chamari, please go ahead.
Yeah. Do you want just the numbers or the names of the chittas?
Names.
Okay. So the Chakku Viññāna, Sota, Gana, Jibha, Kaya, the Sampatichana, Santirana, and I mean one with joy, one with equanimity.
Okay.
So the 2 Santirana as well. That's the 8 wholesome rootless.
Right.
Then we have the 4 great resultants with accompanied by knowledge. So there are only 4 accompanied by knowledge. That would be Somanassa Sahagata Jnana Sampayutta Asankarika, Somanassa Sahagata Jnana Sampayutta Sasankarika, Upekha Sahagata Jnana Sampayutta Asankarika, and the same one, Sasankarika.
Someone has been studying.
We have to, Bhante, otherwise I won't be able to follow the class.
Very right, very much. Good, let's go. And that is 12 there.
The 12. Yeah.
Did you understand, everyone? Right? And what has been excluded here? Only the 4 without. Right? Without, because there is no reason to go into the sublime, because that is not going to be the kusala that we are talking about. The resultants that we are talking about is 3-rooted ones, which is the sobana. These are not going to be able to produce the sublime, so we are not even going to go there. What we are talking about is the laukika, the worldly resultants, wholesome. So we have to take then the wholesome in the rootless and the wholesome with roots, which is the sobana wholesome, which now Chamari went through. Do you understand? Right? So we take out the 4 without knowledge. Right?
No, not with knowledge, Bhante. With knowledge.
We take out the 4 with knowledge.
With knowledge.
Padma?
Yeah, so it has to be Vipayutta, isn't it, really? The 4 Vipayuttas. Yeah.
The ones which are included are the Vipayuttas.
Vipayuttas, yeah.
Excluded are
the
Sampayuttas.
Yeah.
Yes, Bhante. They need to be the Vipayutta.
Yeah.
Yes.
And why is that?
Because the chitta we are looking at is omaka, inferior.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Because they are omaka, they are only going to go down from there. Right? They're not going to be able to hit that. Right? All right. Rebirth linking without roots. The wholesome resultant investigating consciousness accompanied by equanimity. Rebirth linking without roots. The wholesome resultant investigating consciousness accompanied by equanimity. That is what I said and said, no, let's forget about it.
Yes.
That is that. Right? When a kusala, in this case scenario, we are talking about omaka kusala, inferior kusala, 3-rooted. When it gives result, right, it can give rise as that, or the same, similar, or it can give result as a rebirth linking without root. The reason behind this has not been explained. why that shift happens. Lady Sayadaw clearly just says that it is because of the karma itself. It is karma niyama, right? That it is karma niyama, right? An alternative view. Is that clear? What we read, is that clear? Chamari, do you want to say something? No?
No, Bhante.
Hari. Dil, yes?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, Bhante. I mean, you say it's because Lady Sayadaw said it's because of karma niyama. So I just accept it, but I don't understand that sentence. I just accept that's a statement. That's all, Bhante.
Yeah.
I don't know what anything.
Dil, අපි දෙන්නම එකට බලමු.
And the other thing which I just want to put, always they are talking about for a wholesome and inferior and things that when you do a good deed, they say before and after. But the Buddha told Rahul is before, while doing and after. I suppose that is just understood.
I think that is in greater detail and
okay, man. Okay.
You know.
But this sentence, unlike the other three about the rebirth, which you can understand.
Because when you say deed, it refers to the present, isn't it?
It can be a present deed, yeah, maybe Bhante, but that's just, we know that's what it means, so that's okay. But in this sentence, the other two, the rebirth, you can understand what they're saying. How you have the wholesome, the 8, and how you have the great. You can calculate and minus the 4. You can say with this the 4 and with other, we are removing off the ones with knowledge. So you can understand how you get. But this last one, for me, it's just words. My brain doesn't quite say the whole term result and investigate, but I just accept it. That is Lady Sayadaw's karma niyama. But I don't understand the working of it. But it doesn't matter, Bhante.
The inner workings, the thing is, okay, let's go ahead. That is all what I can also tell you, because I had the same question and I asked a friend, and he said, everyone has that question. The thing is, we don't have we don't exactly know what it exactly is, but there is a part in Patthana which can give some sort of elucidation to that, but I don't think we should go into that right now. Okay? An alternative view. Some teachers say that unprompted states of consciousness do not produce prompted resultants, and prompted states of consciousness do not produce unprompted resultants. According to them, as stated above, the arising of the resultant should be set forth in due order as 12, 10, and 8. Right? 12, 10, and 8. The view, some teachers say, the view on resultant stated in para 29 was advanced by the ancient master Tripitaka Chulanaga Thera, and is the prevalent opinion among teachers of the Abhidhamma. In para 30, the author states an alternative view held by the teachers of the school of the Mahadhamma Rakkita Thera, an Abhidhamma master at the ancient Moravapi monastery in Sri Lanka. 12, 10, 8. Any questions about that? There's nothing to discuss there. Right? It's a statement. 12, 10, 8. On this view, both at rebirth and during the course of existence, unprompted wholesome chittas produce only unprompted resultants. Again, on this view, both at rebirth and during the course of existence, unprompted wholesome chittas produce only unprompted resultants. And prompted wholesome chittas produce only prompted resultants. Is that understood? According to the viewer, right? No one is asking you to believe anything.
Bhante, a small question. Bhante, what do you mean by unprompted resultant?
I'm silly. I was praying that no one asked me that question. What do you think it means, Dhamsiri?
That means in order to get you You have to have some sort of stimulation to get the resultant. External stimulation that will give resultant. Will that okay?
That is prompted.
Oh, unprompted or prompted, yeah, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Unprompted is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Summary.
I thought unprompted is that's something that you initiate without any external or deliberation.
Mm.
Initiate a result.
Yeah, so for a result, what would this be as an example? So I give, I make a donation in one life, in last life, in this life. As a result of that, I might get something. I am not actually getting it out of my salary, but it comes round. It comes to me. Somebody gives it to me.
Yeah, but you have not prompted it.
Yeah, it's not about prompted. You were asking about unprompted result.
No, no. If it is prompted, then
So if it is prompted, then I might have to actually work for it. I don't know. That's just an example.
no, the question we have is actually how do you differentiate prompted and unprompted in results?
Yes, I think.
Well, yes.
Can I
Do you want to say something? Yes, say something.
No, it's just that I think that is true, because how can resultants be prompted or unprompted, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Action can be prompted or unprompted, but how can result?
I remember when back in university when we were studying this part, we asked the same question and the classroom erupted in a heated argument. It's going to be, the thing is, Chamari, yes, that sounds something that we could take, but there is a question of Kamma Niyama is not that simple.
Yeah.
It does not, in the way that, we know that we can't control the resultants.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. We can't control the resultant. For example, if it is a weaker kusala chitta which is giving resultant, let's say dvihetuka, which is giving resultant, how do we know that this is going to rise? It is a complex system which we can't plan ahead for, right? So this question of, I remember the teacher saying something, this is going to be one of those questions that I will have to get back to you next week. I'm writing it on because I specifically remember that was not,
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Mala.
No.
Clear.
You have not put.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, go ahead.
Bhante, can you hear me? Am I internet? Yeah. I read in this book how these resultants come. If it's Utkrishta or the superior resultant, you don't have to work. Everything falls on your lap. But if it's Omaka or inferior, you have to work hard to get what you want to get. Supposing now I want a promotion in my job. I don't have to work hard for it. I get the promotion without a problem. But if it's an inferior karma that I have done, I have to go after people to say, look, I have done this work, that work, and can you please consider me for the promotion? This was written in one of the Sinhalese books in Abhidhamma.
It's similar to what Tamil is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I meant actually. You explained it beautifully, Malapunchi.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what Chamar said. But before we confirm that, let me also ask someone and get back to you. Yeah. By next week, I will let you know. Right. All right. Let's move on.
Bhante, the question. In that case, you can simulate. You can simulate practically niyama dharma. Yeah, you can't simulate niyama dharma. Niyama dharmas are natural physical laws.
Yeah, I think that is the reason why I don't want to firm on this specific part, because I feel like it's not 100% concrete, you know. So let me just see what the other monk thinks as well. Yeah, and then I'll get back to you on that. Yeah, all right. All right, where did we stop, please? This means, okay, let's just start from the beginning. On this view, both at rebirth and during the course of existence, unprompted wholesome chittas produce only unprompted resultants, and prompted wholesome chittas produce only a prompted resultants. This means that during life, a superior three-rooted wholesome chittas produce only 12 resultants each, without those 4 minus 4 without knowledge, right? The 8 rootless resultants and either the 4 unprompted or the 4 prompted resultants, right? This means that during life, again, this means that during life, the superior three-rooted wholesome chittas produce only 12 resultants each. The 8 rootless resultants and either the 4 prompted or the 4 unprompted, depending on what kind of chitta produced it or gave rise to the resultant. Understood? According to that view. Is that understood? No, Eileen? No, it wasn't.
Yes, one thing, yeah.
Hemamali? What the view says is, if it is prompted, the result must be prompted. If it is unprompted, the result is unprompted, right? So then, when a wholesome karma arises, what according to this view, what it means is, this is wholesome, this will give rise to 8 rootless wholesome and
yeah, 4
either prompted wholesome resultant or unprompted wholesome resultant, depending on this. Understood?
Yeah.
Depending on this. Okay. Clear? Here, Mali? Okay. Lucky, Chamari, Nalini, Sujata, Nira. I can't see your faces, so I don't know which way the head is turning.
Yes, understood.
Yeah, Lucky.
Yes, Bhante, I'm trying to understand. I'll have to read through it again later.
Yeah, it is talking about a view, okay? It is talking about a view, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's read further and see what more. The wholesome chittas of the second grade produce 10 resultants each. The wholesome chittas of the second grade, which is, remember, which one was the second grade? Weak, wholesome, superior, two-rooted. Sorry, let me make that clear. Weak, three-rooted wholesome, superior, two-rooted wholesome. That's the second grade, right?
Yeah.
The wholesome chittas of the second grade produce 10 resultants each. The 8 rootless resultants and either the 2 unprompted and the 2 prompted. And the 2 prompted, 2 rooted resultant, the 2 rooted ones. Got it? Because Jnana Vipayutta, depending on the original consciousness produced in the karma, asankarika or sasankarika, prompted or unprompted. Got it? Got it? Okay. The 8 rootless resultants, sorry, I did that. Again, corresponding to their own nature, as unprompted or prompted. As in the prevalent view, so in this view too, the weakest grade of wholesome chittas produce only rootless rebirth linking and only the 8 rootless resultants during the course of existence. During the course of existence, right? As in the prevalent view, so in this view too, the weakest grade of wholesome chittas, the weakest grade of wholesome chittas produce only rootless rebirth linking and only the 10 rootless resultants during the course of existence.
Only the 8 rootless return.
Only the 8. Why? It's already weak, isn't it? Right? What is the original consciousness there? Do you remember? What is the last grade of consciousness?
Wholesome
of an
chitta,
inferior grade, accompanied by 2 roots.
without knowledge and
Again,
inferior. Without knowledge and inferior.
Without knowledge and inferior.
Yeah.
Right? Kusala Kamma without knowledge of the inferior
Inferior grade.
grade. Right? Of the inferior grade. That has nowhere else to go. There is no, it can't go up, no? So the only place that it can give rise is fall, which is rootless, resultant in the rebirth linking, and during the course of existence only, it can only produce kammas which will give rise through the 8 rootless resultants. It's that much weak. Understood? Right? Okay. Shall we look at the table 5.5? We hate tables, don't we? Okay, let's okay. Sense sphere wholesome chitta. So now we know the first superior and the inferior, right? Then what? We have 8 here, right? We have 8 here. Can someone explain this? The first, sense sphere wholesome. Noeline, would you like to give it a go?
It's with joy, with knowledge, and unprompted.
Noeline, can you be a little bit more clear of what you're referring to?
That's the wholesome chitta.
Okay.
Resultant, and it's with joy, with knowledge, and unprompted.
No, what I am asking is the first superior, first inferior, second superior, second inferior. Can you explain what these superior inferiors are? What is the classification which is done, which has been done?
Superior is 3 rooted and inferior is 2 rooted. Is that what you mean?
Is that all the time?
Not really.
Exactly. Okay, let me share my screen. Now just remember, this is all that we read. There's nothing more than what we have already read. Okay. Here, right? The first superior. First superior meaning the highest grade. It has to be 3 rooted and it is superior. So 3 rooted with knowledge, that means alobado samoha, with knowledge, right? Whether it is somanassa, or otherwise everything that is three-rooted, right? The first superior, right? What is then the first inferior?
Two-rooted.
Bhante, it is the same chitta. It's the same chitta.
Yes,
Yes.
it's the same chitta, but then can give resultant.
That's right. Yeah.
In two different ways,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The same chitta. So with regards to the 8, Somanasagata Jnana Sampyuta Asankarika, Somanasagata Jnana Sampyuta Sasankarika, Somanasagata Jnana Sampyuta Jnana Vipayuta Asankarika, Somanasagata Jnana Sampyuta Jnana Vipayuta Sasankarika, Upeka Sagata Jnana Sampyuta Asankarika, Upeka Sagata Jnana Sampyuta Sasankarika, Upeka Sagata Jnana Vipayuta Asankarika, Upeka Sagata Jnana Vipayuta Sasankarika, right? These 8 broken into 2, inferior and superior, right? What is their inferior value or inferior resultant that they could give, and what is the superior resultant that that chitta has a potential to give? Is that understood?
Yes, Bhante.
Yes.
Right.
So Bhante, are you referring when it becomes inferior because it is prompted or it doesn't have knowledge? Is that what you mean? That same, those 8.
Tell me again, please.
So those 8 that you went through, the Somanassa as well as the Upeka and the Jnana Sampayuktas and the Vipayuktas and Sasankarika, those 8, now you are dividing that same chitta into 2, right? With the 3 roots and 2 roots.
No.
We are not dividing the chitta. We are elucidating that the chitta has the potential to give rise in 2 ways.
So is that potential because it is, if it is Jnana Sampayukta, or if it is Asankarikam, then that is one way. And if it is the other way, that if it is Jnana Sampayukta without, and it is being
as mentioned in the book. As mentioned in the book, what did we read? We read that this is because of the hindrances. The hindrances navigate and describe the potential of what we are able to do. An alcoholic, it is going to be very much tough luck for a person who is an alcoholic to be able to do a 3-rooted wholesome kusala kamma in that state of alcoholism. Of course, at the Buddha's time, it happened. But during these times, it's going to be quite tough luck. Why? Because not that he is foolish or not anything of that sort, but because of the hindrances that are present in the mind. Do you understand? That is what we went through.
So Bhante, those hindrances, is that what is expressed as being prompted or with knowledge or without knowledge? Is that
No, that is not the way that they are defining it.
Okay.
What is being defined is the fact of how or what is the capacity of the person, and through that capacity can this person experience a superior resultant or an inferior resultant. Now let's say, Dil, okay, let's say, okay, we take you and Oshani, right? You're both cooking the same thing, same ingredients, but owing to, same ingredients, the quality of the products, everything is the same. But your capacity and her capacity of cooking is different, right? You might use the same ingredients, but the taste might be different. It's the same thing.
Thank you, Bhante.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right? And that difference is owing to your unique conditions.
Okay. Yes.
And one of those predominant conditions is the hindrances present in mind according to what is stated. Do you understand?
Yes.
Right? The purity of the kusala is determined by the hindrances that might or might not be dragging it down or making it weaker. Is
So,
that
Bhante,
clear?
yeah. So Bhante, this is a reflection of actually energy and vibrations and consciousness.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now I understand very clearly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante.
I'm not going to go on to say who can cook better. Huh?
I will tell you that my daughter is an excellent cook. I always ask her because she can know recipes, anything she just put with whatever.
Okay.
I have to follow the book, so I can tell you that. I told you that, Bhante.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, she's
Awesome.
very good. Yeah.
Now,
Bhante,
yes.
is it explained in the section guide 29?
Yes.
The superior grade and the inferior grade. It's actually.
Read right now. Yes. We went through it in guide 20.
Yeah, that's right. So the difference is because it's you
Page number 215.
Yeah.
The intermediate grade Om is that which is done with a mind that before and after the performance of the wholesome deed is tainted by such defiled states as exaltation, the disparagement of others, and subsequent regret.
Yeah.
Yes, Bhante.
Yeah. So it is very much what we did today. Right?
Yeah.
I think that also gives us a sense. That also gives us a sense of the karma niyama. Right? Which if you imagine, I mean, the workings that have been discussed now, maybe at the beginning, my heart was absolutely poor. I'm sorry, my heart was absolutely pure. Right? As I worked with this individual or person or organization or whatnot, my heart changed. Thus now changing the result that can be experienced by that respective consciousness. If we put it down to the scope of the present moment, it seems or shows an image of how that whole action through the deed or through the period of time the deed was performed influences a sense of what the final result of the deed might bring to you. Isn't it? Isn't that a sense that you get from when you read this and when we go through this the karma, the chitta and its resultant? So when we sort of look at, for example, the chitta viti is a good image we have of the way the chitta runs, right? And we know that the chitta doesn't run really, it's like it processes, but we remain in this specific moment and it goes through, right? It arises and passes away. One moment arises and passes away. Karma seems to then operate in a similar but yet different manner, in the same way influenced by both the chitta and the anusaya, carrying the defilements, almost in a way like when dye, if 3 colors of dye was put into the water and you find it slowly mixing in the water to create a different pigment altogether, but you find it mixing in a different way. That whole sort of stream of karma or karmic reactions that we have, which is parallel to anusaya and consciousness, seems to have an effect over that deed performed over a course of the time, hence also having a sense of similarity with what the chitta is with regards to Yonsu manasikara, ayonsu manasikara, isn't it? Can you understand what I'm trying to say? You know, where almost the past is now going through a constant change and an interchange with itself as it experiences the actions, not the actions, the vibrations, the energy of the other supporting factors, which is consciousness and anusaya. Hence, giving, or else when our mind was pure, we should be able to experience the exactly pure result, but we don't. That result is determined by the purity by which, or the weakness by which we perform the deed. It is not attributed exactly to the moment, isn't it? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes, but because the consciousness will be at the moment, but the anusaya can be carried from the past. You are mixing up the consciousness and the anusaya. So the consciousness will be that moment, the consciousness you're having at that moment to give the result. But then the anusaya can be something that you're carrying through. It doesn't have to be the present moment. Is that what you're trying to say? I'm just thinking that.
What I'm trying to say is the nature by which this hints at the nature by which karma operates. The present moment consciousness cultivates karma.
Yes.
The karma, however, does not truly depend on the moment, but it depends on a product. The product being the deed. Do you know what? Now, that came out better, I think. Much more easier, right? The present moment, වර්තමාන මොහොත පදනම් කරගෙන තමයි චිත්තේ විපාකය නිගමනය වෙන්නේ. ඒ වුණා, no English, okay. ඒ වුණාට කර්මයක් ගත්තම කර්මයේ නිගමනය වෙන්නේ ඒ කෘත්‍ය අනුව. වර්තමාන මොහොත පදනම් කරගෙන නෙමෙයි. Is that clear?
And by krutya, you mean the deed?
The deed.
Yeah.
The action. The end result of the action. That must be specified, I think. The end result of the action, which was whether as the book states, whether past, before the deed and after the deed, the mind was pure, or before or after the deed, the mind was hindered. Hence, we have this in the paramis and all of that. We have this training of sila, samadhi, and panya in a way to develop that sense of perfection to bring about actions and resultants that would facilitate a person attaining nibbana. When we think about the Buddha's life, the Buddha, having practiced letting go for such a long time, was also a person who chose his birth. He chose his birth. Why? And we know the 5 factors that are taken into consideration for the ease of the attainment of Nibbana and the ease of teaching the doctrine in a way that it would readily be accepted by the folk. That is why Buddhas are never born into poverty, or those who become Buddhas are never born into the poverty, because it's going to be very difficult to convince the rich, the wealthy, the powerful on the value of the Dhamma that that person has now attained to and achieved. Yeah, clear?
Bhante, they are also very intellectually, they're not just average people, isn't it? You're not born to poverty, but you're also intellectually very superior, aren't you?
Oh, that is for sure. That is for sure. But I think the peculiar thing is the Bodhisattva practices letting go. Sara Sankaya Kalpalakshayak Mululle Attarla බුද්ධත්වයට පත්වෙන ජීවිතයට කලින් ජීවිතේ මරණාසන්න මොහොතට කලින් මම කොයිද ඉපදෙන්නේ කියන තීරණේ ගන්නේ මොනවටද? Did you understand?
Yeah. That's the
Why
past part
person be motivated to make that decision having let go of so much?
So,
It
Bhante,
is-
you're referring to the past Mahabhalum, who the mother is, the country, and the time, and the lifespan, and all
Absolutely.
those things.
Absolutely.
So Bhante, it is done not for Buddha's benefit, but for the other beings.
Absolutely.
To,
Ab-
to
absolutely.
realize Nibbana quickly or easily.
But that ability comes to a person. Of course, it is done by the Buddha, who has a Bodhisattva who has trained so arduously. But this clarifies the fact that the preparation of life is important in the attainment of Nibbana. Right? Some people, I know so many personally, who have interest, but their life is such that they don't have the time to put, or they have too much of difficulties and challenges in life that their minds are too all over the place, or they don't have, or their marriages are bad, or their children are bad, or they're not educated, or or they undermine themselves, or they don't have the confidence, or all of these things, right? You will find these different sort of imperfections within that foundation, which would then allow a person to truly focus upon. The interesting part that I mentioned at the sustainability talk is, something when Don, Gihant and myself, we were chatting before, on the grounds of sustainability, the Buddha, Pansala, Pannasala, if you are getting a Pansala done, you have to get it done in a way that it can be made and done within a day. Which is to say, it has to be something cheap, inexpensive, fast, and something which would not cause a lot of stress. Why? Because that stress means something that would take away people's attention from focusing on the Dhamma itself. All the monasteries which were offered, Vishakhas, Anathapindika, everyone, they did not just offer monasteries. No one in the time offered just monasteries. They offered estates. They offered businesses. They offered all of those, and their funds would go into the maintenance of these monasteries. Why? Again, because then people are able to maintain these places without stress. Why? Because the Buddha's aim and objective was not to maintain monasteries, but to maintain a Sangha who attains Nibbana, and to give the Dhamma to people who would then be able to focus on Nibbana. Thus, coming down to the fact that in this process, that element of where it becomes unsustainable, right, has really sort of dripped down into the core of our sort of practice today, where most of the things that we think are important are truly unsustainable in terms of the practices that we have, or in terms of the practice that we ought to be doing. Interesting. All right, let's go ahead. Yeah. All right. So first superior, right? First superior, which is that the first consciousness, right? Which is three-rooted, right? Somanasagata Jnana Sampyutta Asankarika. Right? Do I need to repeat myself in English? Do I? No? Yes? A consciousness with pleasurable feeling associated with knowledge, asankarika, unprompted, right? That consciousness has the ability to, at the moment of rebirth, the rebirth can happen three-rooted, or it can have, or three-rooted, right? Three-rooted. During the time of life, that consciousness, all rootless resultants can arise with roots. What is gen view? General. General view is that consciousness can give rise to both prompted and unprompted. So they have taken 1 to 8. Do you understand? The alternative view is, because it's asankarika, so let's only talk about the asankarika consciousnesses giving rise. So 1, 3, 5, 7.
Yeah.
Understood?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have that consciousness, right, giving rise in its inferior manner, right, which is two-rooted superior, right, two-rooted superior. During the course of life, all the resultants, 8 resultants can arise. The general view is it's two-rooted superior, right? So two-rooted consciousnesses can arise, right? So all the consciousnesses that are devoid of
Knowledge.
Knowledge. 3, 4, 7, 8. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Please interrupt anytime if you want to go over anything. Then alternative view is it's sasankarika. But sasankarika, prompted consciousnesses devoid of knowledge.
Asankarika.
Asankarika, sasankarika. I'm sorry. It's
Asankarika.
It's asankarika.
No.
The first chitta still.
No.
This is still asankarika.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unprompted.
Somanasa Sagata Jnana Sampyutta Asankarika.
Yeah.
It's still the first consciousness still.
Yeah, right. Okay. That's right. Yeah. The first one. We're
I
still
mean,
in the first. Yeah.
Yeah, still in the first one. Right?
Okay.
Still in the first one.
Yeah.
We are looking at these two, right?
Right. Okay.
The first superior. Right? So 3 and 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the second superior, which is Somanasagata Jnana Sampyutta Asankarika. Sasankarika, which is prompted, right? Second superior can give rise to rebirth linking through the 3 roots. During the course of life, all 8 rootless resultants can arise. According to the general view, it has to then be what? It has to then would say that all the consciousnesses can arise, because there is no discussion about whether prompted or unprompted can arise, right? According to the alternative view, all the consciousnesses which are three-rooted and which are unprompted.
Prompted.
So 2, 4, 7, 6, and 8. Right?
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Then we have the inferior. Second inferior is that same second consciousness, right? now giving resultant in its inferior route. So it can create a rebirth linking. A patisandhi function is performed by a consciousness or by two roots, right? Or can give a two root resultant, right? Taking us into then a two rooted existence. During life, all 8 resultants can arise. The general view, because why? This is
No knowledge.
without knowledge.
Knowledge.
It's two-rooted.
Yeah.
Two-rooted without knowledge, three-root without knowledge is then the general view. The without knowledge must arise, right? So without knowledge 4. I'm sorry. Yeah, without knowledge is 4. So 3, 4, 7, 8.
7, 8.
The alternative view, because this consciousness is what?
Prompted.
It's prompted. So prompted with two roots. That is 4 and 8.
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Right? Do you want to go through the whole chart? Okay, let's go through the whole chart. Damsiri?
Bhante, I think it's a repetition for the equanimous consciousness. So we had to go only half of that. So only the top
Yes.
half. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just repeated the
Let's go
second
up
half.
to the third and the fourth.
Yeah.
Right. So third superior. What is the third superior? Noeline?
Third superior, which is the second chitta.
The third chitta.
Third chitta, which is
Somanasa Sahagata Jnana Vipayutta
third is with joy, no knowledge, and
unprompted.
Bhante, it's the same as the first.
unprompted,
Asankarika, unprompted.
Joy,
no knowledge,
Brahmasagata, Jnana, Vipayutta,
Vipayutta,
Asankarika.
Asankarika.
Right? So
unprompted.
with pleasure, happiness or pleasure, without knowledge and unprompted.
Unprompted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So third superior is the superior resultant would be two-rooted. Why? Because the consciousness itself is jnana vipayutta, without knowledge.
No knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we have during the time of life, during the course of life, all the rootless resultants can arise. Why can all them arise? I mean, look here, everyone has 8 rooted. Why? Because they're very weak, right? They're very weak. And the karma developing or karma creating consciousnesses are all sobhana consciousnesses, isn't it? Are all beautiful consciousnesses which are far higher than the rootless consciousnesses, right? So all come. And then, so third superior, right? Third superior, two-rooted, what can it give according to the general view? Then we would have to take according to the general view what? We would have to take all the consciousnesses which are two-rooted, right? All the consciousnesses which are two-rooted. And what is that? 3
Jnana Vipayutta.
and Jnana Vipayutta.
Jnana Vipayutta.
Jnana Vipayutta consciousness, two-rooted. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3, 4, 7, and 8.
Yes.
And in the alternative view, we will have to take all the consciousnesses which are two-rooted
and prompted.
and
Sasankhara.
prompted.
Plus 3 and 7.
Sasankhara.
Go and
Right?
no,
Now the
prompted.
next one, the three-rooted inferior is the rebirth linking that it creates, right? Because it is two-rooted inferior, right? Two-rooted inferior. So the resultant would have to be a rootless rebirth. all 8, during the course of life, all 8 rootless consciousnesses can arise. According to the general view, what consciousnesses can give rise? We will then have to take all consciousnesses that are jnana vipayutta. In the alternative view, we will have to take all consciousnesses which are, Hemamali, tell me please.
Knowledge.
Bhante, what's the question, Bhante?
The question is, according to the alternative view, what are the consciousnesses, or through what consciousnesses will resultants be experienced by the third inferior? Well, don't
None, because it's rootless.
Yeah.
None.
Then
Yeah.
what we have to take? All consciousnesses which are
Two-rooted.
two-rooted and
Yeah. Without knowledge.
Yeah.
Without knowledge.
that is two-rooted.
And
Prompted.
Correct.
Prompted.
Two-rooted and
Yeah.
prompted.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Did you say good to yourself?
Good. Yes.
Bhante,
Yeah, Tamare.
Bhante, I think it will not give rise to any of the wholesome resultants, great resultants.
Yes, Bhante, none of the none
None.
of the results.
Because it's a
great
root
yes.
results will
birth.
come.
Oh,
I think-
dear Mali. I'm so sorry. dear Mali.
Mix-
Good thing of a gun. Yes, it does not, because it's too weak.
Yeah.
It can't go,
Maybe.
right? It's too weak. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes. So fourth, that was third. So fourth superior. Hema, let's do this one then. Okay. Fourth superior is okay. Fourth superior. What's the consciousness?
Yeah. Fourth superior.
So
Somanasa Sahagata, Jnana Viprayutta, Sasankarika.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Somanasagata jnana vipajita sasankhara.
Jnana Viprayutta, Sasankarika. Yeah.
Pratisandhi. What can this create as
It's two roots.
two-rooted? Why jnana vipayutta? Right?
Jnana Viprayutta. Yes.
During the course of life, what are the consciousnesses which karma can give rise through?
Asankarika. 3, 4, 7, 8.
Hold on.
Mm.
First of all, rootless. All the 8 rootless consciousnesses,
Yeah.
according to the general view, we can take all jnana vipayutta consciousnesses.
Viprayutta.
Yes.
According to the alternative view, we have to disregard all the consciousness, or we just take all the consciousnesses that are two-rooted and
Without knowledge.
without knowledge. I'm sorry.
And alternate, and also
unprompted.
And
and
prompted.
Prompted, Bhante.
Prompted.
Asankarika,
Prompted.
yeah, asankarika.
Prompted.
Yeah.
No, sasankarika. Prompted. Prompted.
Prompted.
For 4 and 8, prompted.
Okay, prompted. Okay, prompted. Right. Okay. Then, do we want to do the upekha as well, or is it clearer? Clear. Can you guys do it alone?
Yeah.
Yes, we'll figure out.
Yeah.
It's a carbon copy.
Yeah. Is that understood, Noeline? Is it clear?
Yes, Bhante.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
have to ponder over it, you think?
It's fine. Yeah, I can understand now.
Yeah, I think it's much more clearer today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Padma, yes, Padma.
No. Can you please explain the rootless again here in the rebirth, like the third inferior from two
Third
roots?
inferior. Right.
We've gone to rootless. I suppose you don't have a one root chitta, isn't it? That's probably why.
No.
Is that why?
No. There is no one rooted. Chitta.
Yeah, that's right. I know. Yeah. Is that why they have gone rootless? Well, it should be one rooted according to the way it's going. But
yes, I mean, why it has gone to rootless is, of course, there can be no one rooted consciousness. It is
okay,
far too, that chemistry is far too fragile, and so fragile it is almost impossible of creating an energy with that sort of level. So that is why it goes to rootless.
Okay.
Are those the conceptions that are aborted, that never come? Are they the aborted consciousnesses, or do they even not even
aborted consciousnesses?
Like a fetus, the resultants, when you go to look at it, that gives rise to the rebirth resultants. They are the ones who will never get even conceive, or that they will die before they are come to.
Rootless rebirths are very, very weak.
Yes.
And even if it is, even if they do, or they are conceived,
they will miscarry.
Short-lived lifespan.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah. And even after, if they are even born, they will shortly die. It is that sort of stream of energy is very weak.
Thank you, Bhante.
Mala?
Bhante, the chittas with delusion, aren't they one-rooted? Moha mula chitta?
Non-delusion.
Moha.
We are talking about
non-delusion.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. In kusala, there is, however, the potency of one root being there is not there.
Yeah, okay.
In akusala, lobha, moha, dosa, moha, and moha.
Yeah.
Moha is one-rooted, yeah.
Yes, moha is one-rooted, right? It is that because the mind operates or has a one-rooted conscious operating, that is why a person with moha or that one-rooted consciousness is drawn into the weakest, most fragile states of mind. Isn't it? I mean, having constant doubt, right? I mean, constant doubt, restlessness, these are foundations of mental illness altogether, in a way that decisions cannot be made, to such a serious level. That is what it drags the mind down to, that kind of a level. In wholesome, one-rooted is not possible. What are the wholesome foundations? Non-greed, non-hatred, non-delusion. Right? Non-greed is what are the three types of sankhara: abhihimsa sankhara, abhyapada sankhara, nekkhamma sankhara. Right? Alobha, adosa, amoha. The right opposite of those bad roots leading on to then which is good. These roots support each other for stability. For example, it might be very difficult to do a good act without compassion. How are you going to do a good act without a sense of understanding? How are you going to do a good act? You know what I mean? These support each other to perform those elevating tasks of mind. Right? That is why we do not have one-rooted kusalas, because a foundation now does not exist. How will you give something without nekkhamma? You know what I mean? There is no sense of letting go. Right? So in these countries now you have tax deductible donations, right? Which, we make use of it as well, because we get 20 cents on every dollar. But really, it is not something that we should really be focusing. I mean, for us, of course, as a charity, we focus on it. But if we think about it, it's not something, for example, philanthropists would give chunks of money in order that it then becomes cheaper for them with the tax returns deductions, right? So it would be easier for them to then donate the money rather than sort of to keep it in a bank account or keep it as investments, right? So they would give, right? And then as a result of it, they have a good name, their peers respect them, blah, 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 right? Like the CSR, the CSR funds, CSR, right? CSR funds, the charitable funds of an organization, CSR projects, corporate social responsibility. So, so these things are used. Now, that in terms of Dhamma is not something which would be considered as a selfless act of giving in those foundations, right? It's not a good thing, or it doesn't fall into kusala essentially in that platform, because the sense of nekkamma is not there, because we give to get something back, right? I think just forgetting all of Dhamma and just focusing on just Abhyapada, Vihimsa, Nekkhamma, Sankappa gives you such a profound understanding of Kusala Kamma and Akusala Kamma to a level that just explains the whole Dhamma on its own. Yeah, according to action. Okay. Any questions?
Bhante, can I ask a quick question, please?
Yeah.
If I do a wholesome kamma with the three-rooted superior chitta, right?
Wholesome.
And help a very poor person, and then the next thing is, if I help a friend who is not so poor, do I get the same merit? My chitta is the same chitta, superior three-rooted, but the receiver, two different receivers.
I think if in discussing merit is never the same. Merit, like DNA, has a specific identity. That is why the results of our good actions are unique to you. Merit is never the same, right? We might in general, of course, we just say, for example, about Vasana, I mean, I don't say it, but the sort of the whole, we say that whole sort of, the general thing, but it's not so, right? It's not so. It's very unique to you. So even if you give it to a friend or a poor person, what a main determinant would be your mind.
Bhante, but isn't the mind of the receiver, the consciousness of the receiver, and the Buddha says if you give to an arahant is much more than, given to Buddha is more than another. So it's not only your mind, it's also the mind of the...
Whether it can be the mind of the receiver, it can be the mind of the giver, it can be the mind of the receiver and the giver, right? The values of the receiver and giver, that all happens, all creating towards uniqueness, right? That is why the Buddha spent so long focusing on each and every parami, because what essentially he did is he performed or fulfilled the paramis with different angles, creating a sense of fulfillment. Wholeness, completeness, right? There were times when the Bodhisattva gave danas, he gave complete dana, meaning, for example, let's say he offers a cup of tea. He would not only offer the tea, he would offer the teacup, the saucer, the tray, the tissues, the cutlery, all of that. And then there were times that he would just offer the tea, right? So that is why he had the support that he had. Sometimes we find that there are so many who have the skill, who have the intelligence, but they don't get the position and place that they truly deserve, right? I mean, I don't want to instigate that this is all because of karma. Sometimes, there are personality issues. Sometimes your PR is not so good. You don't look so good. If you live in a racist society, your color matters, and all of these things, isn't it? I don't need to tell you guys, right? We know these things, right? However, that sense of fulfillment of life comes about, according to the Buddha, on the past deeds that we have done. On those past deeds that we have done, right? Padma?
And no, I'm just going back to the charts. These rootless, there are 4 rootless things here, and they correspond to number 5 in 5.4. Is that correct? To the 2-rooted inferior wholesome. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, tell me again, please.
No, there are in chart 5.5, there are 4 rootless categories. Rebirth, rootless, and no.
Yeah, they're all referring to 2-rooted inferior.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. That's number 5 in the chart, in the 5.5 chart.
2-rooted inferior. All those consciousnesses which are without knowledge and inferior.
Yeah. Now, I was surprised that gods are in that group.
God.
I thought, because if you look at it, it corresponds to number 5 in the 5.4. Is that correct? That's what I was asking. 5.4 chart, does it correspond to number 5?
Yeah.
The category 5.
5.4. Category 5.
Yeah. And it says human and gods. Those are the 2 people, the realms that they have put down.
Yeah. Right.
And
2-rooted, inferior, wholesome, sensory volitions at rebirth, human gods, unwholesome. Yeah, it does. Because remember that even in the sense of gods, there are very poor gods as well.
Okay.
Whereas in the sense of poorly, right? Poorly gods as well, like the Asurakayas,
okay,
right? Or the defeated ones. And of course, the Ruksha Devatas, there are lower categories of them as well.
Right.
Still?
Yeah. Thank you.
This is slightly different. See, is this the reason why I know some people don't like, because Buddha says that now, correct me because I'm not a Christian, but like in Christianity, with Christ's teachings, I'm not saying Christ, but the teaching that they kind of glorify that if you're poor, that the gods will be always there and they help. But in the case of Buddha, he was always saying that if you're born into a wealthy family, that you have had the merit, and because it's so much easier for you, have the time and the education and everything to be able. So therefore, he always said that, being born in a wealthy family or with riches, like even your intellect and whatever, if you and in a peaceful society as opposed to a war-torn society, that all those things really he always commended. But the case of Christ, he was born at a time when there were mainly shepherds and bookkeepers and different, but he always said that he was for the poor. Is that, people sometimes find fault with Buddhism for that, but that is so, isn't it? But what do you have to say for that?
I think it all depends on, for example, let me just stop this recording.